Nothing like a good Star Wars film to put hairs in your chest.
She was
Unfortunately, this is a bad one.
And what are those?
This is the Force.
Magical.
It's as you can see, it is Life Day here on.
Happy Life Day. Or I'm sorry. That's I don't want to practice cultural appropriation. That's
yeah.
my opinions. When you hear C3, when you hear R2-D2, turn the page. If you're old enough to have the Fisher-Price book and record, that's what you would hear. So we did it. We watched the Star Wars Holiday Special, which I've actually never seen before.
I'd seen it sort of
It's
years
so
ago.
infamous. I was like, we have to finish with that. We have to.
I saw it years ago, sort of. I was playing video games and I was watching it at the same time because I used to do that, like multitask like a motherfucker. I didn't remember very much from it, but it's one of these things that if you've seen the honest trailer for it or even the nostalgic review of it or whatever, you've basically seen it.
Yeah. But if you haven't, so you feel kind of bad because my PhD supervisor is super into Star Wars. Super. Like, it makes it very easy, like, to pick up presents. But I had never actually have asked him if he's seen it. Because, like, see, this is the important kind of relationship that you need to have with your PhD supervisor, that you can sit down and talk about really, really vital parts of the Star Wars universe. Like, not, I got your email. And I was like, did you see it? Yeah, right? I know, right? And then a girl who's with us was like, what? And he goes, did you see it? And she's like, what? And he goes, we're like, Solo. And she's like, oh, I thought you were talking about, like, a paper. We're like, no, we're talking about the Han Solo movie.
Well, with this, I would love it if I'm sure some nerd somewhere has done this, where they try to work out what events of this happened in the canon.
What's a canon? I need to know.
And to what degree, because I can totally believe between New Hope and Empire that, that Chewbacca had to go to Life Day and, Luke Skywalker ran into Boba Fett and, the Art Carney's character, I would be very upset if he wasn't actually in Star Wars because he's giving it his all.
I'm telling you what.
I could totally see him in an actual Star Wars film. Easily.
I just like I think it was the comedian Paula Poundstone that said, she was trying out for a position in a commercial, a role in a commercial. And she was looking over the script and she thought to herself, you know what, someone wrote this down on a piece of paper. Someone actually wrote this down on a piece of paper. And thought, what a great idea.
And in the case of the Star Wars Holiday Special, that means someone wrote down pages upon pages of... No,
I could see how the Wookiee stuff, like, if there were subtitles, if there were just subtitles, that would add so much more. But you're really just... It's really just like watching, like, a really, really, really long cat video on YouTube, but there's no cats.
Reminded me a bit of the original cut of The Dark Crystal, which you can find online if you search for it.
It's on YouTube somewhere. It's really cool, though.
Long story short, if you haven't seen it, basically, Henson was being very experimental with it originally. And so he had all the Skeksis and the Mystics and even Jen and all of them being like the podlings in the final film. None of them speaking English. And English language only got involved about half an hour into it when Jen met Kira. I think that's when it happened. But you can find this cut. It's black and white. It's a terrible quality cut. Wow. But you got like you got minutes upon minutes of Skeks just going like at each other.
An apartment building.
You've got it's fucking amazing.
Skeksis haunt my dreams forever.
I want that version, a cleaned up, proper cut of that, released, because that was, as an experimental film, it was wonderful.
The Dark Crystal we had it on VHS, we taped it, I think we taped it off the Disney Channel, and, that just always, I really love to watch that. I was like, can I get a crystal and get magic powers? Well, I was like, that's not how that works. But yeah, so, we were trying to nail down who the target audience was for this.
Apparently it's
Besides
the entire family, and they
Wookiees?
fucked up.
Like, there's the
every
part
level.
where the grandpa watches porn. But here's the thing, though. It's not porn of a Wookiee. It's of a human female.
Yes, this woman...
So, we've got questions.
It's this woman who, at the time, was a big model and singer, but...
He's into some sick shit, I tell you what.
Yeah, and the fact... Okay, he puts the, like, VR headset on, and she, like, talking to him, and then she starts, you know, singing and stuff.
For a very long time.
For the...
Like, I went and, like, wrapped up the leftovers for dinner in the time that she was doing it.
For the voice... but from the dialogue, it's pretty clear this is a huge double entendre for porn. I mean, you can easily make the joke, oh, he's watching porn, but it's like, nah, her dialogue, they fucking knew.
Yeah.
This is not an accident.
Like, but here's the thing, though. Alright, so this was 1978, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not weird, I guess, that much, that he's, like, kind of a reverse furry. So he's into, like, the furless kinds of people, but, like...
To be fair, a lot of science fiction things have, you know, like, certain, you know, what we would consider, classically attractive, sort of, you know, by human standards things. A lot of sci-fi things have, you know, gibbering, horrible monsters being deeply interested in that, which is a bit weird. It's like the Ferengi in Star Trek are always have a... Yeah, they have a thing for non-Ferengi women, in particular Vulcans. I don't know why.
It's kind of creepy. But here's what I'm thinking, though. This is 1978. So, Loving vs. Virginia, that was 1976, right? So it was interracial marriage in Virginia. So there was a sizable swath of the U.S. population who saw this that were probably not like incensed by the fact that this isn't and you know this is basically porn, but the fact that the actress is African American.
She's pissed off the... Yeah, but the... Chewbacca's dad, who's doing the porn watching, we don't know what skin color he was, and he had brown fur, so
No,
they'd
not that
probably
it was
be
an
okay with
interracial
it.
thing, that just looked like it was a person of color. Because
Yeah,
this
but
would be like in the South.
Even in horribly racist places, they had a lot of black entertainers and stuff, so that probably didn't affect
Even
them.
racist people like to watch porn.
Well, yeah, it's just like, when you get a marginalized group, there is a sizable amount of the population who will, like, we don't see you as an equal, but we'll let you entertain us.
No,
it's like the same thing with how many gay performers there were in times of horrific homophobia. It was like performing was just one of the ways that you could get some semblance of accepted, but not anywhere near 100% there.
Fair enough.
I had going back to the sort of the weird, you know, things being attracted to humanish things.
Like King Kong.
Yeah. I did a video a couple of days ago, finished it, and I had to find a clip from The Hobbit. And I was looking through it, looking through, and I found this little bit because it was the extended version, which is really, really wonderful, which they should have done way more with. I never spotted before. One of the dwarves in, like, Rivendell actually starts talking about how attractive one of the elves is, and the other dwarves have to tell him, explain that it's actually a guy.
Ha!
Because
Is that like a deleted scene?
It was in the extended cut.
That's great.
I've long thought that Tolkien dwarves, it makes more sense for them
we go again.
to be attracted to men of other races than women, because they dwarves as a group, by human standards, are very, very masculine in character and appearance. You know, if any of them, like, rather than Galadriel...
She's got so many theories about dwarves, you guys.
Gimli should have been attracted to Aragorn over Galadriel. Because Aragorn looks more like a hot dwarf woman than Galadriel does. Just saying.
Yeah, but Galadriel had that, like, elven magic thing going on. I don't think you can resist that.
Yeah, she just said magic.
Yeah.
So that's, you know...
Everyone's like, shut up. I can get a date if I want to without magic. But yeah, so... we had a lot of that, you know, future computer use where, like, oh, futuristic computers and stuff like that. Thank you, because, like, I can't really think while these are on me, so why don't you take them back?
Aww.
There we go. But, like, you know...
Put them on the screen.
No, we're gonna ruin it. But they're basically, like, the most oldest and decrepit screens ever, and the computers are really blocky and bad, and so it doesn't really look like the future at all. It just looks like, you know, the AV room in your high school.
There's
like,
a term for this. It's called Z-Rust. Z-E-E Rust. It's basically a hideously dated vision of the future. It was coined to describe how 1930s futuristic stuff like Flash Gordon and all, how it looked incredibly dated decades later.
Oh, okay. Like when I first watched Star Trek, the original series with my parents, and there was a nail-biting countdown, but the clock was like the old clock that my dad had. Yeah, it was like one of those that goes had the numbers and it goes. And my dad had an old clock radio like that he kept in the office room, and I was like, Mom, if this is the future, why do they have Dad's clock? And she had to explain to me that no, see, this was about the future, which is the future for us. It was made in our past, where they didn't really have the technology that we have now. And that just broke my little brain. I think I was like 4 or 5, and I just couldn't get my head around that. Like, but it's the future, though. Why do they suck?
I believe the Blu-ray of original series, that might have been one of the things they updated.
And it was like to flash you a digital countdown.
I think so. I haven't seen the remastered TOS. I'm planning to at some point, but I think that was one of the things they updated, maybe.
But yeah, this was just so much Wookiees awkwardly bellowing at each other, and then there was like a cookery section
in brown face.
Yeah, and that was really
with four-armed woman played by this guy who turns up randomly as like this guy with a hole in his head, and turns up as this robot.
In the rapiest, most incel thing I've ever seen. Like, so B. Arthur's in this.
Well, to be fair, you don't spend as much time on the internet as me.
Well, okay, that I've ever seen in this.
Anyway. In Star Wars.
Yeah. So basically, B. Arthur is now the boss of the Tatooine Cantina, the Mos Eisley Cantina.
She was giving it all as well.
Yeah, I like her. I like B. Arthur. And then this guy comes in, he's like, hey, baby, what's the crack? And she's like, here's your drink, okay, bye. And he just keeps flirting with her, and he will just not stop. And he's like, yeah, so the last time I saw you, you said these 6 little words to me, they meant everything. And she's like, what were they? He's like, I don't even remember, but they meant so much to me. And she's like, so you decided that you knew what I meant, and that meant so much to you. And he's like, yes. And she's like, well, I didn't. Leave me alone. I'm like, wow, that's the total incel experience. I've decided that my perception of what happened is really meaningful to me, regardless of what actually happened.
And B. Arthur is like...
no.
She's like a irritated elderly lesbian.
Yeah, she's great. And then, so the setup for this, the setup for why we can see this, is that there's... So right at that point in time, the Wookiee planet is under... Kashyyyk. Is under Imperial... oh god, I'm so tired.
Imperial occupation, because, you know, we saw Revenge of the Sith, where the Wookiee planet was conquered by the Empire, and to be fair...
I got up really early.
Revenge of the Sith, and the thing that they did not update, this was obviously made before Revenge of the Sith, but when they made Revenge of the Sith, they didn't retcon the design. They just made it using modern technology, and made it look impressive, which, you know, I would love to get the guys who made Star Trek Discovery and sit them down and be all like, you see this? This was made on a TV budget in the 70s, and it looks like shit. Lucas, when he went back, even though he wanted to destroy every copy of this, he deliberately made it look the same way, even though it was improving the technology.
Well, no,
it's possible.
That was the Kashyyyk designs, because I had the Star Wars D20 books.
Yeah, this probably came out before that, though. This
yes, this predated that, but those predated the prequel trilogy.
Yeah. And,
so there's always consistently been the houses in Kashyyyk. So
yeah. Yeah, but in the same way that in Star Trek, the original series era always looked that way. But then Discovery came over and decided that, you know, that
Klingons look different now.
We don't want a challenge. We don't really want the challenge of trying to make the 60 designs look cool, even though it would be very fucking easy to make them look cool. Just make them out of fucking metal and use cool lighting.
They're there, dear.
Please.
They're there. But yeah, so they're under Imperial occupation at this point in time, and so there's evidence that there is rebel activity, so they're doing a house-to-house search. So 2 stormtroopers and 2 Imperial officers come, and they basically just hang out. They just hang out there for like almost the entirety of the special.
Even though they're supposed to look through the entire planet, they're just like, no, we live here
hang
now.
at this one house.
One of the guys is clearly ADR'd in with this really, really sort of... I think it's the same voice as Boba Fett had in the cartoon.
But so they start watching TV there. And they
Jefferson
watch...
Starship.
Yeah, well there's that. They watch a show that is actually kind of like a reality TV live broadcast from Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah.
Which is when they see the head commander, who apparently is the head commander of the entirety of the Empire, because he's like, literally will come on every 5 seconds to broadcast to a different system.
I figured he was some sort of digital avatar that wasn't actually real, sort of like Big Brother wasn't actually a real guy, at least I don't think he was. And he would sort of appear and just give out messages, but he was like an automaton. Right. But then he has a conversation with someone later on, so my idea was bullshit.
No, it's real. And then he's like, aha, there's a curfew on Tatooine. And then everyone's like, God damn it. And B. Arthur's like, oh, sorry guys, gotta close it down. And nobody leaves. They get rowdy. They demand another round. And she's like, no, see, because the Empire like? And they're like,
it's a reality TV show and they don't give a fuck. Well, we'll all get arrested. Blah, 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 blah.
like everyone's watching them disobey Imperial orders. So she sings a song and then everyone clears out. And I was like, what?
You guys want to be arrested.
What? And then
B. Arthur doesn't have to clear out. She lives there.
Yeah. And she's like, come on, guys, we're gonna get in trouble. Like, the stormtroopers are gonna come. They're like, no, it's not happening.
No, I want to be arrested with you, B. Arthur, then I can spend more time with you and bother you with my hole in the head.
They had like a volcano head. It was really creepy. And he like poured the drink.
Like,
And
I'm
he
gonna
was like,
drink like this.
And then he like made a really weird like orgasmic face, and I was like, that creeps me out.
That was the guy who did the voice of the Great Gazoo in Flintstones.
Cool. Good to know.
Not really good to know, but you know, he's dead. He can't sue.
Most people.
He can't guess sue.
But yeah, so there's also a part where his wee boy, Chewbacca's wee boy Lumpy, who is the most obnoxious little fuck in the exactly like that.
I'm even more obnoxious.
You are though, thank you. Because you're in real life. I can't. So then he starts watching a cartoon of Luke and Han and Chewie's adventures, which really does look like it's like, you know, right out of Heavy Metal.
Yeah. Like, not quite to the... not as expensive as the Heavy Metal film.
But some similar, like, animation style. Like.
Yeah, like a cheaper, but... What is it? Quote the Time Bandit script of a similar... it's like Heavy Metal, or a similar but cheaper stature.
Yeah. And so they meet Boba Fett, who betrays them, well, obviously, but...
And they didn't use the proper voice for Boba Fett. This is the original Boba Fett voice, which isn't the same guy from Empire Strikes Back, because the guy in Empire Strikes Back, that's the best Boba Fett voice. Then they replaced it with Tamura Morrison, because apparently George Lucas doesn't understand that when you wear a mask to hide your identity, you can't actually... Your mask might have a way to change your voice at the same time, so it was like, oh, I sound like Boba Fett regardless, you know, where I'm Tamura Morrison. Oh no, why am I bothering with a mask at all? I don't know. See,
I just figured he had like a little microphone that would just...
Yeah, I think
he has a comm link. You hear him speaking over comm links. But...
Yeah, but if he's going to the bother of, you know, wearing a full mask to keep his thing, he's not like Darth Vader. He doesn't need it.
That's true.
So he's going to that one. So why not make your voice sound different? So that if you're out of the mask, you can go incognito.
That's true. But yeah, so there's like some magical talisman that puts Luke to sleep, but they have to go get an antidote, but then they don't need it, and then they leave. And it's never really made clear. Like, so then the wee boy is watching this, and like, it's like Darth Vader appears. He's like, oh no! In Wookiee. And then when the Stormtrooper's like, what are you doing? And like comes over and he like switches it off real quick, and it looks like some little kid's toy that he's playing with. And he's like, oh, just a stupid game. And I'm like, so are you watching a cartoon that someone made about your father and his friends? Are you watching this live? Like,
I think, you know, the rebels have very sore wrists drawing all this in real time.
Animation in real? How would that even work?
Very, very difficultly.
Yes. Oh, and this just went on forever. At a certain point, I was like, here, I gotta run to the toilet, press pause. And she said, really? Are you sure there's an hour left? And I was like, alright, never mind, then don't. Oh, it just went on forever and ever, and it was
Skywalker,
so cringy and awkward.
I don't know what the fuck they did with Mark Hamill, but if you've seen any pictures of it, it's like... Okay, this is 1978, so it's a year after Star Wars. He clearly looks like 5 years older. I don't know why. But he also looks like a drag queen. And this is like the year before his car crash, so he got facial reconstructive surgery, which is why it looks a little bit different in Empire Strikes Back, where he in Star Trek terminology, he grew the beard. But this one, it's just like, he looks like a Ken doll.
He really does look weird, and his eyes are really wide. And Carrie Fisher looks like she's pretty stoned, which, if you've read any of her memoirs, she probably really, really was.
Yeah. I mean, what's really weird is...
Harrison Ford is not having any of your nonsense, actually.
I was like, Harrison Ford hates Star Wars, as far as I can tell, but he's in this a fuckload. So it's like, it's weird that out of the three of them, Harrison Ford's the one who's in it most.
So the whole framing device is they're trying to get back to Kashyyyk for Life Day, but they're encountering an Imperial blockade. So basically, like, Chewie's wife calls every one of their friends in the galaxy to see if they know where they are.
Apparently, because look.
But they can't contact the Millennium Falcon for some reason.
And Chewbacca only knows like 4 people. You'd think that, you know, she would have called Jabba the Hutt at some point.
Hey, Jabba. Anyway.
Oh, that's a great idea. How it's when edit together, like, you know, her talking a comlink, you go like, rah, 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 and then you get some footage of Jabba the Hutt going like, rah, 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 but no subtitles, and just put it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until whoever's watching goes nuts.
But yeah, this was so awkward and so cringy, and there were so many times where just like a scene would just go on. It would just go. I mean, if you've ever seen the Mystery Science Theater 3000 of the black and white Hamlet, cut to camera 2, cut to camera 2. And it just goes, and then there's this one scene where you're watching.
That's one of the ones you showed me.
Yeah.
But I was totally the wrong audience for that because I'm not a big fan of MST3K. But
awesome.
I quite like old TV, so I was enjoying the adaptation of Hamlet
from German TV.
Yeah.
But there's also a part where like his wee boy gets this like radio transmitter for a present you have to assemble, and it comes with this instructional video cassette. But your man is from a cyborg race, and he's like.
I think it was an actual robot.
Yeah, but they said this race occasionally suffers issues. So
Yeah.
I thought it was like just a cyborg race, or I don't know.
Maybe he was decraniated at some point.
Aye, but he like I don't know words like Max Headrooming, but it wasn't funny, and just kept going.
To be fair, it wasn't funny with Max Headroom anyway. But
that's not. It wasn't supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be annoying.
But that's not Max Headroom's fault. That's because they cast Matt Frewer, who is never funny.
But
I like Matt Frewer. He's just never funny.
Like, and I'm thinking about this, like, you know, children watching with their parents across the nation in 1978, and parents making eye contact over the children's heads, be like, "Have we smoked yet? Are you sure? Because I feel like we have."
Yeah, we have like 20 minutes of going on.
Because it's the 70s. Did you put Quaaludes into it? Yeah, they're like the beginning, and there's no.
It's like the very first episode of Star Trek Discovery with the Klingons all talking to each other, having these, you know, big Shakespearean dialogues with each other, but with no subtitles. Which, you know, may well improve Star Trek Discovery, I'm not sure.
Really weird musical segments and people dancing for no reason. Now, one guy who, thankfully, his crotch was tastefully covered, looked like a Pikmin with a little diddly bob on his head, playing the trumpet, and
And then there was Jefferson Starship, the singer, you know, was using they went to make his microphone stand look like a lightsaber. Unfortunately, it was bright pink and it was penis shaped, and he kept putting it in front of his mouth, so it was like, oh dear, this is the actual most porny looking thing in the film.
That's what they get up to in this part of the galaxy.
Well, to be fair, the Imperial Guard was very, very taken with that.
And then. So eventually, Han and Chewie show up, and everything's great, and then Han immediately pisses off. He's like, alright, well, I got you here.
Han kills a stormtrooper and leaves the body at outside their house, and he's like, well, they're not going to get in trouble after that.
Happy Life Day. Be careful, because there's a lot of Imperial stormtroopers, so I guess he's just going to re-break the blockade to piss off somewhere else.
And then...
Not even call Leia, because when Mala calls Leia, she's like, oh, put Han on, and she's like, no, they're not here yet.
And then when Life Day happens and they get into the interdimensional rift inside the Fade, you know, wearing their red robes, you know?
Yeah, they just kind of like hold up these like glowing balls, and then they're all wearing red robes, and they process through space into the light.
And once they do that, then Han, Leia, and Luke all turn up. So Han
and the droids, and then C-3PO was like, "It's times like this when I wish that we were actual living creatures," and I was like, "Well,
it's just like good work there, depressed version of Data."
Yeah, but like. They have, but both R2-D2 and C-3PO have droids have emotions in the Star Wars universe. And, like, until it was a thing in Solo, like, it was never like a, you know, oh, I wish we were real full-class citizens. Like, you see them getting knocked around and called, you know, droids
tortured
in the first one, yeah, by the Jawas. Jawas, I mean.
Well, those ones, they were sort of just being, you know, amoral with them. In Jabba's palace, there was
you don't serve your kind here. Your droids are not wanted.
In Jabba's palace, there is a dedicated droid torture chamber.
Oh, right, in the bottom.
Yeah, and the thing that's C-3PO gets taken through it. And like
yeah, so if you can be tortured, you can suffer pain, so you're a real thing. That was just kind of really weird and, like, awkward, and then...
Well,
and then Carrie Fisher sang a song.
Yeah, they all turned up. So either this is like, you know, some sort of weird non-place, or they're a vision or something, or Han Solo spent fucking 3 days getting them through the blockade, left, picked up Luke and Leia, and then came back through the blockade, and then found the dimensional rip, and then went inside it just to have a couple of words with them.
So yeah, it's as bad as you've heard. It's as awkward. Like, I keep saying awkward and cringy, but it really is. If you want to, go for it. You know, if you want to get really drunk, if you want to get really stoned and just be like, all right, guys, we're doing this. Like, I was actually texting with a friend of mine from uni. This was the friend who once sidled up to me and said, oh my gosh, do you want to hear about this crazy movie I've seen? It's the worst movie ever. Have you ever heard of it? It's called The Room.
And what did you say?
And I said, oh dear heart. I said, do you know what my wife does for a living? And she said, no. And I said, go on YouTube and search Diamanda Hagen and report back to me next week with your findings. So I said, we're actually watching the worst holiday special ever, a Star Wars holiday special. I don't think she'd heard of it, because she goes, oh, that's great. But me and my boyfriend are watching a worse one. Meet me in St. Louis. And I was like, okay, yeah, you win. That is worse than it. I don't like
Although, I gotta say, it's better than The Force Awakens.
Ooh, controversial opinion.
Force Awakens was very crap. You know, everyone hates the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is a really good middle part of a trilogy. Unfortunately, the Force Awakens, there's a complete disconnect between in the story they're telling.
There were some cool aspects of Force Awakens.
Because Force Awakens is all, you know, J.J. Abraming stuff, and I fucking hate J.J. Abrams.
Look into my mystery box. Who are your parents?
It's like, look, yeah, J.J. Abrams, here's a bunch of stuff that we're going to reveal later on, because this is how I think narratives work. Ooh, this is amazing.
I'm not the director anymore.
Yeah, and then Rian Johnson. If only if Rian Johnson didn't have to deal with all the shit that J.J. Abrams, you know, idiotically set up, it would have been Last Jedi would have been perfectly fine. I hope. Probably. Well, I don't know.
It wouldn't be Christmasing without discomfort. So we have two let's try things.
We're gonna eat Lucas.
No, we're not. One of them is we got at the American Candy Shop. Oh no! in Belfast, they're white chocolate pumpkin pie M&Ms, and as we talked about last night, I'm not the biggest fan of white chocolate. I'm not the biggest fan of pumpkin pie, so artificial flavor in all its glory. So here, I'll have two each. You take two. All right.
Haha, I'm not eating them. I've never even eaten pumpkin. At least I don't think I have.
You have to try it, though. It tastes like a cookie. It tastes like some kind of cinnamon spiced cookie.
I'm really glad I've never eaten pumpkin.
It tastes nothing like pumpkin.
Ah. Actually, it's possible that I did, because when we were in Florida for Project Million, one day I went and had lunch in the All-American Cafe of Liberation Square, because one of their things on their main menu was a Thanksgiving meal all year round, so it was the traditional Thanksgiving meal.
Oh, that's really cool, actually.
So I deliberately went over there and made a point of getting that at least once.
I don't like pumpkin pie. I think it's nasty. Well, so that was a pretty good result. So the other thing
is
salmiakki. This is vodka with salty licorice flavored vodka. It's from Finland.
These are the present I got her because I'm awesome.
And Hagen is not trying it because she doesn't drink alcohol all that often.
Yeah, I don't like alcohol too much. I don't drink it
It smells exactly like I think it would smell. You smell it.
I hate licorice, so I don't like...
So salty licorice is even worse.
Yeah, like first time we all tried it was us two and Film Brain over at Alcon one year, and Sophia Liv sort of let us try it, and going, she's Danish, so she's all like, I love this stuff. And
that is not even any kind of Danish accent.
I know it's nothing like it, but still. But Omega was like, oh, and then she tried it.
I was like,
then she wanted more, and she loved it.
Let me try that again, actually.
And Film Brain tried one, and he made a similar face and didn't eat anymore. But then I got mocked because I made a similar face.
You did. It was a fantastic face you made.
But then I deliberately ate a second piece just to show how powerful I am, because I am.
Wow. Yeah, it does taste exactly like you think it'll taste.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's not as salty as actual salmiak, but I guess that makes sense because it's, I think it's ammonium chloride or ammonia is involved in the salt of it.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I don't understand the appeal of licorice.
It's a very sharp licorice taste.
At all.
It's just one of those flavors I really like. This just reinforces the fact that I probably am a cantankerous old man. I like black licorice and vinegar.
She's really, really happy about the fact that in this country, the traditional medicine taste is basically licorice or root beer.
Oh, it's really great. Like, I think the first winter that I was here, I had a really bad cold, and so my sister-in-law was like, oh, here, we've got some cough medicine downstairs. and it was Canova. That was the brand it was. And she says, "Oh, it's really horrible. Here, let me get you a soda. You just have to have a chaser. It's just, ugh, I almost throw up even just thinking about it." I was like, all right. And it tasted like licorice, root beer, and a bit of mint. And I was like, wow, that's really good. If that was a soda flavor, I'd drink that. And she's looking at me, my sister-in-law. This is Avatar of Decent Humor, by the way, if you're a Hagen fan. Kind of like, with her head to the side, like his master's voice. Like, what? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but you guys, your sort of medicine thing is different. And it's more like our sodas. Like, I've heard Iron Brew tastes like cough syrup.
Iron Brew tastes like bubblegum. Like that old-timey bubblegum, like, you know, like Bazooka Joe or something with the powder on it. It's for, like, my dad calls Iron Brew bubblegum soda.
I've also heard it described as like cough medicine.
Oh, I thought you meant by my family, but...
No. Other Americans have tried Iron Brew.
Well, yeah, so it's the kind of thing that you would sip. You wouldn't be like, I think I'll just chug that now.
But she totally will. Did I get a present?
Yeah. They're just all wrapped up in the closet.
I didn't get a present for no in front of the camera. Whale cry.
I can go get one.
You're just gonna have to buy me Zen.
I did.
Again.
She's addicted to Star Trek Online.
I gotta save the universe on a regular basis is important.
I see.
I've got the Phoenix Prize pack right now. I'm still trying to get like a Ryzian cruiser for my Queerdassian crew so they can have the USS Party Train.
And what is that Cardassian's name?
Gul Dukak. And his second in command is Lovin Datas.
Right, so from all of us to all of you, I hope you've really enjoyed the Christmasing too. Maybe we'll do it again next year, maybe not.
Maybe get longer and longer.
Maybe I want to live.
Next year, next time you'll be stuck with feature films.
No, I don't know. I don't know how to work out.
Okay, if you want to do Christmasing next year, let's not all film them in December. Let's film it across the year so they can spread it out.
Yeah, that's true because I will be coming into my writing phase in December.
So you know,
because I'll have a few months. Actually, I'll have 9 months before submitting my PhD. So
you know, we have between us we have enough Christmas-related feature films we could do, and just film it across the year, and then
just like save them.
Yeah, and if one of us dies or grows a second head,
stop that?
if one of us grows a second head, we can just pretend it didn't happen, and the audience will be very nice and tell us that it didn't.
So Merry Christmas, everyone! Happy Hanukkah, joyous Kwanzaa,
happy Saturnalia,
or Festivus, Wolf and Newt, and if
Saturnalia, Haganalia.
Oh yes, that's true. You better celebrate Haganalia.
Which is basically where you sit in a chair and be curmudgeonly because everyone else is celebrating Christmas and you fucking hate it.
I gave you so many presents. I even got you a special surprise present that you have no idea about. And
is it a puppy?
No, it's not a puppy. And I'm roasting duck because you said you wanted to have roast duck.
I like duck. You like duck as well.
I have. We roasted a duck last year and it turned out very well. So
I spent over 100 quid in presents for you.
I spent a lot of money as well.
Oh no, we shouldn't have done that.
Probably not. We love you, viewers. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next year.